Great point about ruminating. It turns out I do ruminate. I was ruminating on a situation about another one on our list, which is values-driven versus logic-driven. And this is more about how you make decisions. Okay. So values-driven is I am concerned about how this will make people feel. Okay. I have a strong internal value system of whatever it is. That drives how you make your decisions, right? Whereas on the other side is logic. Well, 1 + 1 is 2 every single time, always. The policy is this, and so this is how we're going to choose and make our decision.
Yes.
And you can't flex a policy, otherwise why have a policy?
There you go.
Well, because my values tell me that, like, in this one situation, there should be, like, an exception. Yeah. No, we don't make exceptions because that's not logical, right? And so both are good and necessary.
Mm-hmm.
I am in a situation personally where I have to make a decision that is going to affect somebody. I'm values driven. I get stuck when someone else is going to be affected, and there's no good answer for this person, and I'm the one with the power, right? And I'm like, oh man, what do I do here?
Yeah.
And I was processing it with a logic driven person, not in the moment thinking this person is logical, but I was just, I was like, processing, and he was like, well, 1 + 1 = 2, A + B is C, and he just was giving me all these really logical formulas of like what might happen with this person. And I was so exhausted, and I was like, I'm ready to exit the situation.
Sure.
And so I'm talking to my husband about this, and I'm like, gosh, we're about to record a podcast on the goodness of differences, and here I am, like, I am done talking about this situation, right? And so I feel like, and then Cody, my husband, is like, Kirsten, that's the perfect example. There's no quick, easy fix. These situations, these differences we have always get us. Even me, who lives and breathes this whole world of the importance of cognitive diversity and psychological safety, I get exhausted by, like, key differences because it's still testing of, like, it's a mental exercise, it's an emotional exercise, and then at the end of the day I still have to make a decision, right? And I still feel stuck because I care so much about the effect of it, right? So I feel I've seen that one a lot, obviously in my own personal life because it's such a strong one for me, but I also see it play out in the workplace a lot where, if you think of like 16 types, like ENTJs, like, oh, they're very logical and they're the leader and they just say like, this is the way it is. And then you can, to have people feel carnage, like there's carnage created from like a super logical decision made, and then it leads to like a bunch of people quitting a job, right? Like I feel like that's like media headlines, like CEO said this terrible thing, 20% of the workforce quits because, whatever, like backlash that comes from those things. So it's like, I feel like I'm painting logic-driven people in a negative light. You actually really need logic people. My co-founder is. And so I will get stuck on a decision, and Darren will say, Kirsten, it's just like this. And I'll say, thank you so much for that clarity. You're right. I'm super uncomfortable with that. And I actually really don't like that that's the truth. But it is. And so here we go, So that's a big one I experience.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought up the fact that you and Darren are that way, because I can see that when I see the two of you interact. And I do think that you have to have a level of trust between the two of you to let those conversations happen, because what you're speaking to is a really, really big difference. And a lot of times when it is a value-driven decision versus applying a lot of logic, it's probably something really important. Like the implications are huge. And so to be able to sit with that discomfort where you just want to exit the conversation.
And I'm exhausted.
And you're exhausted. And to know that you can't check out, shows strength, and that's good. But it also speaks to the partnership and knowing that I am going to hear you out and listen to you on both sides, right? So Darren will listen to your value-driven, higher order, more abstract rationale. And at the same time, you're willing to listen to that logic and appreciative of that logic, especially when it helps reconcile these conflicting values that you might have based upon a decision. And, it's, again, neither approach is bad.
No.
But if you can sit with the discomfort and build that rapport and that trust between both parties, you can make the most of it.
Right? And again, like, if you can also recognize which one you are and when you go too far in it, and then when you need to pull someone else in, right? So, like, I can get stuck, and I know I sometimes just need to talk to Darren about it. So I just add it to our one-on-one list of a topic to cover when we meet.
And we should have that for almost every working relationship we have. Right?
Yeah.
Like for every time where I'm stuck because of this trait or behavioral tendency or whatever, this is how I can get unstuck.
Right.
Or at least get a different opinion or a different perspective to help me move closer to doing whatever I think is real.
Yep.
Yeah. It doesn't make it easy.
Oh, no. No, because also what I'm saying here is you have to go with somebody who you know will think differently and probably force you to do something that's outside of your comfort zone, right?
Yes.
You don't think that way naturally.
That's right.
Most likely you'll disagree.
Probably. But it gives you a different perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll help.